Hola humans, today we're going to look at composite questions with our laws of exponents, and the two examples I'm going to work today have integer exponents, which means they are whole numbers of positive and negatives. I don't have any fractions. So going through these, we're going to follow the following steps. First, do not panic. Some of these are going to look very scary, so take a breath and then follow the remaining rules. We're going to look for our power of a power rule. So that was where we had exponents inside and outside and we multiplied those. Our product rule, that was where we had things side by side and we added our exponents. Our quotient rule was when we had a fraction, we had something on top, something at the bottom, and we subtracted. And then our negative and zero exponent rule, we move things from opposite sides of the fractions for our negative, and anything touching a zero becomes 1. All right, so looking at all of that, we have example 1. So again, pause if you need to. We got a lot of x's, a lot of y's, but we're first looking for that power of a power rule. So I can see we have parentheses with exponents inside and outside right here because of that 2. This piece right here does not have an exponent outside the parentheses, so we're not going to worry about that, but we will for the denominator as well. So I'm going to focus on this piece and this piece first. So I'm going to rewrite this fraction, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy down that second part because we know we're not going to deal with that right away. So now dealing with that top piece, we see that we have exponents that are visible, so I don't have any invisible ones, so I can multiply directly. So 2 times 2 is 4, so I'm going to have x to the power of 4. Then I'm going to have 2 times negative 1, which is negative 2, so I have y to the negative 2 power. Still going to keep my parentheses because I have something going on right next to it. And now I'm going to look at my denominator. So in my denominator, I have xy squared, all of that squared. So here I do have an invisible 1 next to that x, and now I can start multiplying. So my two bases are x and y. Then I do 2 times 1, which is 2, 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay, if you need to pause and relook at this, feel free. But moving on, I want to look at anything I can simplify. So I can see right away at the bottom, there's not really much I can do. Taking care of that power of a power rule took care of what I needed to do there. But at the top, I have 2 sets of parentheses, so I am going to go ahead and do that product rule. So here, I am looking for bases that are the same, and I'm going to add exponents. So looking at my numerator, I see we have an x and a y. So I'm going to write these over here. So we have x and y. Looking at my x's, I have a 4 and I have a negative 3. So 4 plus negative 3 is a positive 1. Looking at my y's, we have a negative 2 and a positive 4. Negative 2 plus 4 is a positive 2. From here, I'm going to recopy over what we had in our denominator. So I have x squared and y to the power of 4. Now we are going to do our quotient rule. So we have our 2 bases of x and y, and now we're going to subtract. So 1 minus 2 is a negative 1. 2 minus 4 for my y's is a negative 2. And then because these are both negative and I want them to be positive, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite those at the bottom over here. So now we have my fractions set up. My x goes to the bottom. My y goes to the bottom. And then when I don't have anything on top, I need to remember to keep a 1 there. And then because both of my exponents are positive, we're great. But remember, we don't need to have that 1 next to the x when we have that. So our final answer would be 1 over x times y to the power of 2. Looking at our next example, I see that we have our power of a power rule right here. I don't see it anywhere else, so fortunately we are only going to do this once. So I'm going to set this up over here. I'm going to recopy what we have on the right because that is not a power of a power rule. Same thing with my denominator. And now we're going to just deal with this part right here. So I want to make sure everything inside that parentheses has an exponent. I'm seeing that 2 is missing its invisible 1. So now that I have all 3 of those set up with my bases, we can go ahead and multiply. So 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. And 2 times negative 2 is a negative 4. Looking at this, 2 squared is the same as 4. So 2 times or 2 to the power of 2 is 4. And now we are done with that first piece. Looking across, again, I cannot simplify my denominator. So I'm going to rewrite for a to the power of 2 times b. And then looking at my product rule, I see we have 4 as a coefficient. I don't have anything over on my other term, so I'm just going to keep 4 here. Then I can see my bases are a and b. Looking at my a's, I have 6 and I have -1. 6 plus -1 is 5. For my b's, we have -4 and +4. So -4 plus 4 is 0. Okay, from here we're going to use our quotient rule. So when I do that, I'm going to divide my coefficients. So here we have 4 divided by 4, which is 1. For my a's, I see that we have 5 and 2. So 5 minus 2 is 3. And then for our b's, I notice that I have a 0 at the top. So that means I have 0 b's in my numerator. So I just have 1 b at the bottom. So I'm going to keep that there. And then if I were to clean this up, when we have that coefficient of 1, we really don't need to put it there. So I could just leave it as a to the power of 3 over b, and I am done.